What's up, guys? Lore here, back again with more Heart of the Swarm beta action. Exciting match to come up here in the northwest corner here on Akalon Waste. We have Drewbie as our red Terran. Really, very approachable Terran is the impression that I've gotten from him at different events. Just a very nice looking guy. He's also a very fun to watch streamer as well. And down here in the southeast corner, of course, we have our blue Protoss, none other than Mr. WhiteRa himself. This match is, in fact, from the WhiteRa Special Tactics Volume 3 replay pack that he put out just recently. He's one of the only pros that's really been very active about putting out replays, so thank you very much, sir. Very good to be seeing all these replays. And side note, once again, if you would like me to cast one of your replays, if you're a professional player, or if you're just somebody who happens to be relatively good at StarCraft and would like some more exposure, please send me your replays. Send them into devolore@gmail.com. That's DEVOLORE@gmail.com. Anyway, let's look at this match. We've got a gas first opener here from Drewbie, not getting that barracks first, going for the gases instead. I'm inclined to say that means Warhounds, but we've also seen a lot of Terran experimenting with Reapers. We've seen them experimenting with just, standard Wings of Liberty style siege tank pushes, so even just like fast Blue Flame Hellions. In fact, I would love to see somebody try the new Battle Hellions against Protoss. I haven't actually seen that yet. Barracks going up as well, so just a regular old gas first into barracks opener for Mr. Drewbie. And down here we've got a gateway into a gas for WhiteRa. So very normal openers from both players. The thing about Heart of the Swarm that we've been noticing, one thing that I found especially noticeable is that at least so far, there hasn't been any major change in how players are actually going through playing the game. Sure, they'll weave in a couple of new units here and there, but none of the new units really seem to be completely redefining how the meta works. And ooh, very nice there, WhiteRa. Pulling away at the last second there to not take any damage. Oh, and then there, as soon as I say that, he takes some damage, unfortunately for him. But very nice work there from WhiteRa regardless. But yeah, it seems like so far things just sort of they sort of have just been working out. The new units are there and they get folded in and they certainly do stuff. And nice on WhiteRa to go back in and check again. He left the base figuring, okay, he's going to drop whatever tech he's doing now, and he certainly was. Drewbie was dropping his factory right then, so WhiteRa was able to get some vision on that factory before he actually retreated his probe back. So very good thinking there on WhiteRa's part. It's funny. It's something that's very minor, but you see so few players actually do that. Leave the base and then go right back in again to sort of psych them out, so that they have to either wait forever to actually drop their tech because they got to say, okay, well, is he going to come right back in, or you end up seeing their tech. So that's very good for WhiteRa. In fact, I believe he saw that tech lab as well, so he should be expecting this Warhound to come out now. I cast another replay a little bit ago. I don't believe I'm going to end up uploading it to YouTube, so if you're watching this on YouTube, apologies. But what we discovered in that replay was that this game was actually played, and I believe this one as well, was actually played before the Warhound nerf. So unfortunately, these Warhounds are still very strong. But fortunately for WhiteRa, it doesn't look like Drewbie's going for the standard 2-factory Warhound push that we've been seeing a lot of Terran doing so far in the beta. Instead, he's just going for 1 factory, getting some Warhounds out because they're freaking good, and then he's going to get up an expansion and start doing some stuff over there. And in fact, this is how good Warhounds are. He's just sending that thing straight away over to WhiteRa's base because he can, and because he will probably do some damage. Very nice on WhiteRa to have this stalker position right there. Take a couple of pot shots before he goes by, and also spot him on the way in. So now he knows, okay, this expansion here might be in some trouble, and in fact, it might get there just, or excuse me, Drewbie's Warhound might get there just in time to put some damage into it, but no, he's going to ignore it and just charge right up the ramp, taking some hits from that Zealot, taking some hits from that Stalker. Is going to pull back a little bit, but now you start to see a bit of what makes the Warhound so strong. And oh, is he actually going to kill this? WhiteRa actually manages to kill that Warhound before it can take out that Stalker. Very nice. Very good on WhiteRa. He managed to keep that Zealot in range the entire time. I believe that was a little bit of a slip up on the micro from Drewbie there as well. He brought the Warhound up over here and then slid it that way, this direction, which kept it in range of that Zealot, which allowed the Zealot to get a couple of extra hits in, which I believe saved that Stalker's life. So now, Drewbie does have this extra Warhound out, and he's just sort of wandering it around the map. Has another one up over here as well, but having one less Warhound right now makes him feel a little bit less less safe about going in and attacking. And I believe, in fact, with this mothership core here now, WhiteRa would actually be relatively safe from that attack if Drewbie were to send those units in. And in fact, now he's warping in more zealots as well, getting his sentries up, and he's going to start taking down these destructible rocks to get ready for his third expansion. Now, Drewbie has a couple of Blue Flame Hellions out. They do have the Battle Hellion upgrade as well. Or excuse me, the Blue Flame upgrade, they come standard with the Battle Hellion. You know what I meant, Internet. Well, maybe you didn't, but that's what I meant. Apologies for that. And this is interesting. WhiteRa's actually just got his mothership core just sitting out here. And I actually really, really like that. There's no anti-air from Drewbie just yet. Wow, Drewbie's just going to go ahead and pull back. Very interesting. Okay, so there's no anti-air from Drewbie just yet. He hasn't been making Marines at all. In fact, I don't think he's even produced anything out of that barracks yet whatsoever. He's just been going pure mech. He's got his Blue Flame Hellions. He's got a couple of Warhounds. In fact, he's added on 2 more factories to be able to pump out even more Warhounds and Hellions. But there's no anti-air. So by having this mothership core positioned out here in front of the ramp, that means if he were to activate his Purify ability, he would be able to do damage to those things the entire time they're walking up there, which means that he could theoretically kill a unit or two, maybe a couple Hellions, or maybe get a Warhound really, really low, before they were even able to attack any of WhiteRa's ground units. So very smart thinking there from WhiteRa, actually. WhiteRa, actually. Very, very good to see. I like it quite a bit. I do feel that the mothership core adds a whole lot of early defensive capabilities to the Protoss class, and in fact, the Protoss race. And in fact, we've actually seen a few Protoss, WhiteRa included, be very, very aggressive with them early on, which is pretty interesting. Now, Drewbie's going up to his third base. He already has his orbital command on that, and he's just continuing to add on more and more of these Warhounds and Battle Hellions. This is almost the new shape, the new face of a very, very mobile mech army. I know a lot of people will get mad at me for saying, oh, it's mech, but it's mobile, because people were still considering mech to be, tanks, Marines, very, very slow, methodical pushes, Thors, and so on. But this is something that you can do with the same exact structures that you would build your typical Wings of Liberty style mech army with, and it's very, very mobile. The Hellions obviously can go into their race car mode and just zoom around all over the map. The Warhounds themselves are very mobile as well. And he's coming in down here through this south opening here, and WhiteRa did kill those rocks, but he did not put up his expansion, so he doesn't know that's known that. Oh, now he's going to know. He sends that Zealot down there, and this could be bad news. Those Battle Hellions in the front are going to be able to do so much damage with that cone attack that the Battle Hellion change gets them, and here they go, just charging in there. The Zealots getting ripped to shreds. Like, they're actually doing a lot better than I expected they would, but there's still just so much left for Drewbie that now the mothership core is really all that WhiteRa has to try and defend against this. He's going to send over his probes to try and do what damage he can, but that's not going to be enough. Now warping in several zealots as well. And, oh, nice. He baited him into that cannon over there, and now he's actually forcing him to turn around into that cannon, and he's actually going to be able to defend this. WhiteRa actually defends against that army. That was a really, really scary push by Drewbie, but through some careful positioning, that's a really, really good spot for that photon cannon. He managed to force Drewbie over into that cannon, finished off the couple of Hellions that were sitting over there, and then was able to come in from behind with these Zealots and trap the remaining Warhounds. So yeah, sure, he lost a few probes in the middle of that, but he cleaned up the army. He killed everything off. Unfortunately, thanks to these massive amounts of production structures that Drewbie has over here, and in fact he's even adding on a 4th factory, and he's gotten a starport as well. I haven't seen him produce anything out of it just yet, but he has gotten it, and it is available. Well, that's a nice little move there from WhiteRa, trying to get in there and take out some SCVs. I don't know if he actually killed anything. No, it doesn't look like he really killed anything, but it was a nice try nonetheless. But yeah, Drewbie's army is once again relatively scary sitting over here. That is now 5 Warhounds running around. In fact, let's just go ahead and check the unit stats. 6 Warhounds on the map, 8 Hellions, and are those Widow Mines? Yes, he does actually have 2 Widow Mines somewhere. I have not seen... Oh, there's one sitting back there, and presumably there's one somewhere else also. I don't know exactly where it is. These things are a little bit hard to see. So very interesting. Ooh, nice. Trying to come up with... Oh, there's the other Widow Mine. So it looks like Drewbie's actually using the Widow Mines to try and fight off that Oracle. Unfortunately for him, the Oracle has been coming in from a direction that he wasn't quite ready for. And oh, here we go. WhiteRa. Once again, Drewbie does not have any anti-air. This is a... I mean, it's a Void Ray. Oh, excuse me. Never mind. Vikings. There we go. So that Void Ray is going to die at some point. He will be able to take out a few of those SCVs before he dies, but not enough. It looks like only about 4 or 5 SCVs taken out for that one Void Ray, which he then lost to those Vikings. So, unfortunate there for WhiteRa. He is now, however, adding on his Fleet Beacon. We'll be getting that up very soon, and we could see some Tempest play out of him. We've seen WhiteRa using the Tempest quite a bit. He's one of the only Protoss players to really be using them that often this early on in the beta, because, quite frankly, they seem a bit underpowered. But he's been using them anyway. He says, you know what, I'm just going to try and find what they're good at. I'm going to try and figure out what the place is for Tempest in this matchup right now. Thus far, it doesn't seem like there's much of one, but he's certainly trying to find it no matter what. Let's check in on Mr. Drewbie over here again. He's actually adding on another reactor factory and another starport. Excuse me, a tech lab factory and another starport. So it looks like he's going to switch over into full Warhound production. He's done with the Hellions for now. And he just says, you know what, Warhounds are good. I'm going to make Warhounds. And oh, just barely manages to finish off that thing. That Oracle does manage to die. This is a lot of Zealots, actually. This is quite a few Zealots, and that many Zealots can be kind of scary. Oh, WhiteRa decides to warp in a Mothership, but his Mothership core dies instead. He does manage to get a couple of pretty good-looking storms down. Oh, man, those are some excellent storms out of WhiteRa, and once again, it actually looks like he might be able to take this out. He's doing as much damage as he can, but yeah, wow. WhiteRa actually manages to defend once again. That was, again, a really, really scary army from Drewbie. I didn't think there was any way WhiteRa could actually deal with that. But it's been a long enough game now that he actually had Storm researched, and he actually chose to research Storm, which is, again, something that I wouldn't have expected him to do into Mech. But he had some really good placement of those Storms. Drewbie wasn't really fast about getting out of them. And that allowed him to crush through that army yet again. In fact, now he's pushing up here. There's only 2 Warhounds. Nope, never mind. There's a whole bunch of them up over here. So that's a bit scary for WhiteRa to try and attack into. And there's the problem that WhiteRa is now running himself into. He can defend, and he's been defending brilliantly, but I just don't know that he can actually attack into this. And taking some extra damage there. This may be bad. This may be a bad engagement for WhiteRa here. He's going to do as much as he can. A nice couple of storms going down there. I guess it was just one. Doesn't matter. Nice storm going down. But now he's lost his couple of Archons, and I don't think he's going to lose the majority of this army. He may actually lose this. Yeah, he's going to lose that as well. Now the Zealots charging back in, trying to push him back. Does manage to take out another Warhound, but there is nowhere near enough stuff here for WhiteRa to be able to take on this whole army. The Archons actually seem to be doing pretty well against the Warhounds, all things considered. But there's only 2 of them, now there's only 1 of them, and now that's dead also. So, not really a big fan of that engagement there from WhiteRa, excuse me, I'm having trouble saying his name right now. Just did not seem to work out that well for him. And now Drewbie's going to come over here, he's going to take out these collapsible rocks, which will then incidentally block off those Warhounds from being able to unite with the rest of his army, but also protect him against some of that ridiculous harassment that WhiteRa has been putting on this base over here. And oh, this could be good. Oh, he turns the Zealots around. He may be trying to save them. I do feel like he would have lost all 4 Zealots if he'd attacked in there, but he would have probably killed that Warhound, and that may have been a good trade, all things considered. Maybe not, but it might have been. WhiteRa's just being so active on the map right now. It's hard for me to keep track of everything. He's just attacking every single base that he can with everything that he can. In fact, he's actually going to move back out here again, and oh, he might be able to kill these Vikings. That would be huge if he can kill these. Oh, he had him on move command. Oh, he does manage to kill 1 Viking, but I feel like he could have killed a couple more if he'd been, or at least 1 more if he'd been paying a little bit closer attention. Yeah, there now he's going to lose the rest of his Zealots, and Drewbie's just going to add on even more Vikings. So I feel like WhiteRa, even though he's been defending incredibly, it just kind of seems like he's distance mining for some reason. That's kind of strange. But it just kind of seems like, and now he does have his Mothership out. His Mothership may actually be able to turn the tide of this battle. There are several Vikings out that'll be able to take it down relatively quickly, but if he can get those charge lots in there and have them be invisible and not taking damage, that could be the little bit of extra edge he needs to defend once again. But, oh, and a little bit of, where did those guys even come from? I didn't see a dropship moving over there at all. Excuse me, a medevac. I didn't see a medevac moving. I don't know, whatever. A couple of Hellions over there doing some damage. Probably just strolled on in when I wasn't paying attention. But whatever. What are you doing here, Drewbie? He's putting 3 command centers down over here, maybe just building them to build into planetary fortresses to defend the hell out of this base, just because WhiteRa has been so active with those zealots trying to harass as much as he possibly can. I imagine that's probably his plan over there in that corner, but still, just kind of a strange thing. But yeah, WhiteRa he's defending incredibly well, but I don't know that he can actually attack is the problem. I don't know that he can actually move his army at this Warhound army and expect to win. He's been getting by the skin of his teeth in the last couple of attacks, that Drewbie has put on his base. And I just don't think that if he were to move in, I mean, he does have the supply lead right now by just a little bit. And in fact, if we check the resources tab, or excuse me, the units tab, 22 zealots. 22 zealots could actually do a pretty good job against Warhounds if he was able to catch them out in the open. But other than that, he really just doesn't have much in the way of units right now. And in fact, interestingly enough, it looks like they're around here somewhere. There they are. It looks like Drewbie's actually adding on battle cruisers. An interesting choice. We saw Thorzane do this in a replay that I cast not too long ago. That was against was that against a Protoss? I don't actually remember, but he eventually teched into battle cruisers as well. And they just seem to fit in with this army relatively well. With this Warhound army, they seem to fit in relatively well. Ooh, that's interesting. Dark Templar now out for WhiteRa. He's just trying to find any edge that he can. Dark Templar are a very good sort of desperation unit. Now, I do believe Drewbie may have seen that. No, he did not. He did not actually see that that Dark Templar, and now he's scanning, but he's not scanning where the Dark Templar is. Unless he did just now, and I lost it. I don't actually see where that Dark Templar ran off to. So he may have gotten that Dark Templar. Oh no, it's up over here, trying to kill the armory for some reason. That's a bit of a strange choice. But if he does actually manage to kill that, that will stop the ship weapons upgrade, which is interesting. I don't know if that actually... Yeah, he is actually going to kill that and stop ship weapons level 1 from finishing. May even be able to cancel the other one, but unfortunately there are a bunch of Warhounds now coming up over here, which will be able to finish this poor guy off in a hurry. And in fact, there's now SCVs there repairing it. Scanning everywhere except where this Dark Templar is. There we go. Now he's going to take it out. Oh, and there's actually more Dark Templar. Excuse me, I've been missing Dark Templar harassment elsewhere while all this has been going on. I didn't realize he actually had this many of them. God, where are all these things? They're just everywhere right now. Yep, there's another one right here, doing what he can. Oh, and he might be able to get a bunch of mules here. No, he's gonna attack the whatever that thing is, the command center. Oh, and meanwhile, WhiteRa's moving up over here with his mothership. He's going to try and do some damage over here. He's managed to draw Drewbie's army away with that Dark Templar, and if he can get through these destructible rocks and get over there and do some damage. The High Templar are getting caught out. Not a single storm gets off. Oh, that hurts. That hurts so bad. That I don't know why they were over there. A little bit of a misclick or something on WhiteRa's part. He has now lost his High Templar. They had so much energy too. They could have gotten off so many storms and honestly probably ripped this army to shreds. Let's be realistic here. The amount of storms those guys had on them could have killed a lot of this army, but now he just does not have them anymore, and that is very, very unfortunate. He's adding on a few more, but they are at 0 energy, and that hurts. That really, really hurts. Uh-oh, we might actually see a confrontation here. These armies are dangerously close. They don't know that they're that close to each other just yet. WhiteRa knows, but Drewbie does not. Oh, bit of a Dark Templar harass down over there. And oh, what's going on over here? Oh, are you going to make a vortex? Yes, he does make a vortex, and he's going to send him in there. Drewbie's going to not pile all of his units in there. That actually seems like kind of a strange choice. I feel like he should have dumped everything he could down in there. Instead, now he's losing Warhounds like crazy. He's going to lose the Raven down in there, and now, oh, well, that's a whole bunch of Warhounds. This may not end up working out well for WhiteRa after all. There were just too many units over there. He did manage to kill a whole bunch of them before that vortex finished, but unfortunately there were just so many in that vortex that once they popped out, that was it. That was all she wrote. Just so much damage. Meanwhile, however, he's just being so active with these Dark Templar, doing as much damage as he possibly can, which is forcing Drewbie to stay back. He's forcing Drewbie to not attack. Every time Drewbie moves out, WhiteRa comes in with a Dark Templar and forces him to pull back yet again. Now, I feel like if it were to come down to a base race scenario, Drewbie would win, but he might not know that. He might not know that he's in that position right now. And in fact, the more I think about it, he may not be able to, because he may not be able to just find everything in time. There's so much stuff all over the place on the map now. WhiteRa's now going up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bases. That's a lot of bases. He actually took this one down over here, which Drewbie is now going to discover. And it's so close, and that's where he's been warping in these Dark Templar from. He's going to move them up over here for even more harassment. Meanwhile, Drewbie's just having to play. Now, okay, I have to call Drewbie out on this a little bit, because he really doesn't need to be sending his entire army around every single time there's a Dark Templar. It's really not necessary. He could just be sending, like, a couple of them. Keeping these battle cruisers back, for example, would work. But instead, he's sending his whole army across the map every single time there's a Dark Templar. So that's a bit of a mistake, I believe, on his part. And now, actually, he might be able to get a couple of free Warhounds here. Nope, they're going to move away. The Warhounds are just a little bit too fast for him to be able to catch up to him. This WhiteRa is now fully charged, and he's going to blink out. Nope, looks like the WhiteRa is going to lose his charge. And there are plenty of Vikings there to rip that to shreds. And in fact, WhiteRa is going to lose this base right now. Drewbie's going to move in here and just tear this thing apart. So much damage coming out from everything. In fact, he has Ravens mixed in there. In fact, the Raven has barely any health. One more hit from anything from that Raven would have saved those Dark Templars' lives. But unfortunately, the Raven is still alive. The Dark Templars are not. And now WhiteRa's trying to move around behind for a flank, perhaps? No, it looks like instead he's just going to poke up over there and say, that army's a little bit bigger than what I'd really like to attack right now. I think I'll back off. Going to take out that Warhound, but there's about 1 million more of them up over here. Does manage to kill the Raven, and does land a pretty nice storm as well. And in fact, he even managed to feed back a couple of the battle cruisers in there. I don't know that that was a great choice, but it could have been that he figured he was going to lose those High Templar anyway, and maybe they didn't have enough energy left for a storm or something like that. Nice free Warhound there. Drewbie just seems to be giving those away sometimes. It's just a bit strange. I feel like Drewbie's army control has been a little bit lacking in this game, unfortunately. He's been just a little bit careless with some of his units as this game has progressed. Meanwhile, WhiteRa has obviously done the same. I mean, you guys remember the whole High Templar thing that happened right about over here, actually. It's right there. Whole big slaughtering field of High Templar over there just died like crazy. This base is screwed. Let's be honest. This base is screwed. It is going to die. Fortunately, there's not a whole ton in the way of workers here that he's going to lose, but that's still mining that WhiteRa. Well, I say he needs it, but he's also floating 4.7k minerals, so I don't know that he needs it that much right this particular second. And, oh, finally, he's actually separated his army. Drewbie's got these guys up over here killing this thing out, but he's sending the rest of them down over here to defend this. And this is a decent push from WhiteRa, but there's just so many Warhounds over there that I don't think he can actually do anything about it. He drops a couple nice storms, but they just don't do enough damage, and now WhiteRa's being forced to push back, or excuse me, pull back yet again. And now behind on supply by a decent amount for this late in the game. 17 supply behind. Just trying to do whatever he can to actually be able to crawl back into this. I feel like there's a Dark Templar around somewhere. Where is this thing? There he is. Dark Templar up over here doing some damage. I think there was another one someplace else. Actually, now that I look at this, is Drewbie mining? Drewbie is barely even mining. He's only got 400 income right now. And up over here, these Warhounds are being killed by WhiteRa. He's going to be able to add on that base yet again. He's got a lot more minerals banked than Drewbie does. He's mining a lot more minerals than Drewbie is. This is really Drewbie's only mining base right now, because everything else just doesn't have any probes at it. In fact, check the units tab. He's only got 29 probes to WhiteRa's 73, so... Uh-oh. Another big engagement here from WhiteRa, dropping down the Vortex. Did manage to catch a few units in it, not as many as last time, but that actually could end up working out well for him in the long run, because now he's moving in here with a whole bunch of Stalkers, a whole bunch of Archons and Zealots as well, and actually managed to deal quite a bit of damage, but that Vortex is going to finish right now, and there are just still too many units over there for WhiteRa. Sending out the Yamato Cannon from the Battle Cruiser, doing just tons of damage all over the place. But that army is now relatively weak. I don't know that he really feels good about pushing into this. He's going to try anyway. May lose a Warhound to a cannon. Yes, he does. And now WhiteRa trying to do as much damage as he can, taking out these battle cruisers, which have been left up in front, and sending in the Zealots to try and do damage to the Warhounds as well. He's able to warp in a whole lot because he has so much in the way of income right now and so much in the way of money. WhiteRa is just constantly warping in more and more and more units. It seems like he's starting to run a bit dry in terms of at least like his warp gate cooldown, but he killed the Warhounds. His Zealots killed the Warhounds. This last battle cruiser is going to go down. WhiteRa now actually managing to take the supply lead yet again. Drewbie's pushing out over here with a whole bunch of Warhounds. More Warhounds down here. Going to try and do as much damage as he can. He can take out this base, but it's mined out. It doesn't matter. He could come up over here and take out a bunch of stuff, but he needs to be able to be doing some real damage right now because WhiteRa's economy is just a million miles behind Drewbie's. Okay, never mind. I was about to say WhiteRa's economy was great, but it looks like Drewbie found his mule button and is mining like crazy yet again. So, but WhiteRa does have the supply lead. Oh no, don't lose your High Templar! Oh, that was scary. That was scary indeed. Oh, and he's going to trap them off. Nice move there by Drewbie. He actually manages to kill a couple of the Zealots with the falling rocks. Nice move by Drewbie, killing off the collapsible rocks, closing that exit, and making sure that not only could he get away, but he was able to kill off the rest of those Zealots as well, and even killed a couple of them with the falling rocks. They do actually do damage if the rocks land on you. It takes about a half a second for it to actually go. Oh, Yamato Cannon, excuse me. Killing off that pylon. There's no pylon up over... Oh, excuse me. There's one up over here. Okay, good. So WhiteRa can still warp in units over here if he chooses, but instead he's battling up over here. He's taking off the reinforcing units that are trying to come over here and join these battle cruisers. He's going to lose this base if he's not careful. He's moving in now with the Stalkers, trying to do as much damage as he can. The Yamato Cannon shooting off and killing off a whole bunch of the Stalkers right away. But, oh, nice with the High Templar in there doing the feedbacks, doing as much damage as possible, and the Zealots now in the back trying to take out even more Warhounds. There's just so much going on right now. Another warp in of Stalkers could be enough for WhiteRa to be able to turn this around with these Zealots over there killing off the rest of the Warhounds. The cannon, the photon cannon. You guys, there's so much happening right now. I have no idea what's going on. There's just so much stuff happening. There's the thing, and then and that died, and there's only one Stalker left, and he's shooting, and there's more Stalkers that are coming in. He's gonna kill him. He's gonna do it. WhiteRa's gonna defend yet again until these guys walk over there and kill everything. That's gonna happen. Yeah, and there's the GG. Oh, that was an intense final battle, you guys. That was nuts, but unfortunately, Drewbie just had too much production. Checking the income tab at the end of that, he had way too much in the way of income as well. I want to look around and see where that was actually coming from. He didn't have a whole ton. There we go. Huge wave of mules down over here. He must have just... He actually has a lot of orbital commands out on the map, so... Drewbie able to swing that economy and that production back around to be able to deal just so much damage and pump out so many Warhounds just constantly, even mixing the Battle Hellions back into the game as well. Wow, that was a fun game to watch. WhiteRa held on like a champion for so long and was actually taking the lead at certain points. Just a little bit too strong of an army from Drewbie, pushing him back every time. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that match. My name is Lore, and I will see you at the next match.